What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. PROFX7942 at gmail.com. That's how you can get a hold of me. If you want to ask me a question or want me to cover a topic or whatever, that's the email. PROFX7942 at gmail.com. Hit me up. Hope everybody's having a great day. And again, thanks for tuning in. I want to discuss a subject that is kind of touchy, especially in America and probably all over the world. I want to discuss some of the differences between prejudice and racism, or being prejudiced or being a racist. And again, I know this is a touchy subject in America because I believe that a lot of times as people, if we don't see something happening, it's easy to think that it don't exist. And if it don't exist, and let's just say it leans towards evil or something that's bad, we're going to continue to act like it don't exist. And a lot of times that's not necessarily the right approach, right? We know in America, really it hasn't gone away. I mean, really, it hasn't gone away. Before I was born, since I've been born, the degree of it and what we have seen of it and some of the activity about it, that has changed. Some of the things that has led to riots back in the day. I mean, it may not be to that degree, and then even going before that. So a lot of the activity that was around certain things in America has changed. But we are all aware that there is a very thick atmosphere and layer of prejudice and racism in our country. And so I want to go back. Well, I want to talk about it, but I want to go back to where when I was a teenager, how things were defined, because over the years, words, I don't want to say they lose its power, but because everything has to be said so politically correct now, the meaning of it, it can be hard to understand. The words, they kind of change and soften up definitions. So I want to go back into the 90s where I actually was a student of race, studied racism, did many reports on these things. Not that it makes me an expert, but at the same time I'm not a novice when it comes to race relations, prejudice, all this stuff. I've been studying this stuff for years. I've been looking at it. I believe I'm a student of human nature. I try to be, and just for the record, I believe in all people. I myself, as a black man, 48 years old in America, I am not a racist. I could be considered prejudiced because, again, when I define it, you'll understand what I'm saying. And I believe that most people are more prejudiced than they are racist. I'm just go ahead and get out the way. I believe that most people are prejudiced, more prejudiced than they are racist, based on definitions that we were using back in the 90s. Now, if you change it, I haven't even looked it up. I just know words change and lose meaning. In the 90s, we saw prejudice, and it was defined as preconceived ideas that was not based on actual fact. And it didn't even have to be based on race or skin color, ethnicity, none of that. It could be religious differences that was preconceived that caused a person to form an opinion that was normally, we'll say, hostile or against the other person. For instance, when I was growing up, my dad was in Panama. I was 12 years old. I had a friend of mine that I hung out with all the time that was JW, Jehovah's Witness. And we hung out. I mean, we hung out all the time, months probably. I remember seeing him all the time, and we played kickball together after school, baseball, all this stuff. And then one day I invited him to come to church. I grew up very, very heavy Pentecostal background. That's what my parents were. Grew up in that all through the time I graduated. Been around it all my life, so I understand. And I remember one time I invited him to, they say invite a friend to church or whatever, Friends Day. Invite your friend, to church. So that's what I did. I said, hey, would you like to come to church? Well, I guess he asked his parents, who then found out that I believe his mom or somebody came to the house and found out what religious background we were. And when they found out that we was Pentecostal, I found out later from him that he was told he could not hang out with me anymore. Because I would knock on the door, his mom would come to the door and say he can't come out. I would go back 2 days later, his mom would come to the door and say he can't come out. So finally one day I caught up with him after school and said, man, what's going on? What's the deal? And he told me, I'm not allowed to hang out with you no more. Why? Because your family is Pentecostal. So that right there is just one example. His mom or his parents, who were Jehovah's Witness, probably had some opinion that was given to them about Pentecostals that was probably different from Jehovah's Witness. And instead of taking the time out to get to know my family, instead of taking the time out to appreciate the friendship that I had with their son, based on the preconceived opinions and beliefs that they had of Pentecostal people, they just stopped the relationship that their son had with me in terms of us being friends and being able to hang out, to the point that we couldn't even hang out anymore. I never hung out with him again after that event. That's prejudice. When you talk about race, you can believe or be taught something that hasn't been proven, but believe it. When I went to college and there was a more Caucasian people there, more of a mixed crowd. I mean, I graduated from a mixed school because it was military based, so I was already familiar. But as far as being in a civilian or non-military environment, I had never really lived in that type of environment yet. So when I went to college in a non-military in St. Louis, in a non-military environment, the girls, ladies there, whatever, would once they got to know me, I was just a regular guy, just normal. They begin to tell me of things that their parents had taught them. Like we heard, all the black guys beat white women, different stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about? Where's this stuff coming from? Yeah, somebody there told me like never talk to him. He gonna beat you. He gonna get you pregnant. He gonna leave you. He gonna be having you walking around barefoot all the time. And like, Where's this stuff coming from? Again, these young ladies that was telling me stuff they didn't, obviously they was from places that didn't have that many black people there, or they wasn't around them that much, but they had preconceived ideas that was handed down to them by their parents, which caused them to see me a different way. I was nowhere near what they had been taught black people were supposed to be. They have been taught that black people will beat you, get you pregnant, what I'm saying, have you, and this is all what we would do against Caucasian women, not what we would do in general, right? I mean, if you're gonna not take care of your kid, you're just not gonna take care of your kid. But the way it was told was like they would get you pregnant and leave you because you are Caucasian. Like we was on that kind of time, or that we would smack them around because they were Caucasian. It's like, what are you talking about? Again, preconceived ideas handed down, ignorance handed down, prejudice. Even in our day, a lot of things that we have heard about how the authority have handled, depending on if it's a Caucasian person in the police force or whatever, we kind of feel, if we black, that hey, if you get pulled over, you got to be on your guard, you got to be careful, you got to watch, you want your phones running, you want everybody, you want to kind of almost make a scene almost, because we have seen certain things take place. Let's just say there's 1,000 people that get pulled over in America every day for speeding or whatever, shoplifting, stealing, whatever they get pulled over from by Caucasian people. Most of those go fine. We don't even hear about it in the news. But then there's a couple that's going to show up in the news if a cop takes one of us out. It seems like they did something crooked, did something shady. And then there we go. See, so now we're gonna have a idea that does not necessarily apply to all of them. It may not even apply to most of them. But as black people, especially black men, we're going to have an idea of law enforcement, especially when they're Caucasian. There's gonna be a preconceived idea that's not necessarily based on our experience, but what we have heard or what we have seen, because again, the media is going to blow everything. It's going to blow everything up. So like I said, it may be 1,000 people that get pulled over every day on the interstate. 1,000 people that get, questioned. 50 got to come to their house, ask them a question. Nothing goes wrong. They come, they do their job, they leave. But out of that 1,000, if one goes crazy and we hear about it, then we now have a way that we view law enforcement, which is going to be negative towards them and negative in our situation. But we got to handle ourselves differently, or we'll become more aggressive, and there may not be a need to. But then if we don't become more aggressive and there's a need to, then we're caught with our guard down. So you see how this still goes back and forth. With that being said, that's prejudice. Racism doesn't, I'm not going to take that long. It just don't take that long to define. To me now, this is my perspective. And again, I'm for all people. To me, the majority of black people and cultures are not racist. To me, this is my perspective based on my life, me growing up. Because in the 90s, we defined racism as a race that thought their race was superior to other races. You see the difference? Prejudice is I have preconceived information about you that may or may not be true. I'm not going to stick around to find out for myself. When I meet you, the idea is already in my head. I see you that way. It don't necessarily have to mean that we can't be friends or we can't get along, but I have a preconceived idea. It don't elevate one of us no higher or lower. It's just I see you a certain way based on information, preconceived ideas that I have, right? I may perceive that a Caucasian man is not going to necessarily try to help me move up in the position at the job based on preconceived ideas. That don't mean that I think my race is better than his. Y'all see the difference? Just because I may feel that the average Caucasian man is not going to do his best to try to make me or allow me to move up in a company, and I'm just using this for an example, because he is Caucasian, I'm black, we feel that he's going to help his more than he will help me. That would be more prejudice. I'm prejudging based on preconceived ideas. I'm not saying that I feel that because he is white, and I'm black, I am superior to him. That is racism. Racism, at least, and like I said, as we was taught it back in the 90s, which I think is a better definition, is when one race feels that they are superior to the next race. In my opinion, you don't find that in the black community that much. We want to be considered equal as every race. We're definitely going to let you know we are not beneath you in whatever race you are in. It don't matter what race. We're here to say that. We stand on that. No, you're not going to treat me a certain kind of way because you think you better than me. At best, we are equal. But you don't hear, and y'all get in the comments. Like I said, this is not a pointing a finger type situation here. Let's get in the comments and talk about it. Y'all can tell it. At 48 years old, I don't think I have ever heard or even, what's the word? Try to amplify that a black person tried to say that they felt our race was better than the white race. The majority of what I have come to understand in the atmosphere and the feeling of people that I personally have been around is just to let people know we are not beneath you. It's not that we are over you in terms of race, which makes us more powerful. When you go by that definition, then there is a group in America that has been guilty of that. And I'm not saying that all are guilty of that. I'm not even saying that, I'm not saying all. But if you look at who feels that their race is the more powerful race, it would not be the black race. That's not us. If it leans to anyone, it will come more from my experience, the Caucasian race. And that don't even apply to everybody. But we know that history has proven that they feel as a as a whole, not everybody. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm using my words gently here. Y'all know that where that will come from the most. And I'm not even blaming all of Caucasian people for. I'm simply making the difference. I think black people would tend to be more prejudiced in terms of prejudging. I think that the other would be more racist, meaning our race is superior to yours. And even in then, let me be clear, I'm not even saying that that is a great majority. I'm just saying if you put apples to apples, that kind of thinking is going to show up more in certain Caucasian circles, more than black circles. But y'all tell me what y'all think. I just want to get on here, strike up a conversation, get in the comments. Prejudice? Yeah, we definitely do that. Thinking that our race is superior to other races? Nah. We just want to be equal. At least that's how I feel the way I was growing up. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Remember, do good to somebody. I'll catch y'all on the next. Peace.